Welcome to part 4 of our chicken coop build. In our last video, Dan decided to completely rebuild the roof after discovering more condensation than we were happy with. He also built the main door and started building our roll-away laying boxes. In this video, we complete the build minus a few finishing touches, install our automatic chicken guard door, and we get resourceful with some forage materials to help us finish the build.
So with the roof now redone, which has now straight away solved the condensation dripping problem, lovely and dry up in here now, that's brilliant. I can now turn my attention to finishing off these laying boxes. So far we've got these sections poking out, which are the walls for each of the laying boxes. There's 5 in total, and we have the 12-degree pitch on the top and the bottom there that I cut. So now I've got the job of basically boxing this in with some more OSB. So I've got to make the bottom floor section, I've got to make the bit for the roof, which will have a hinge on, a piece for the front, another piece for this kind of smaller section here where the eggs will roll into with its own little opening roof, and a bit to box in the front. So I've taken some measurements. I'm going to go and cut those now, and then I'll find Laurie to give me a hand pinning those in place. I've got all those pieces for the laying boxes cut now, just waiting for Laurie. So while I'm doing that, I thought I'm going to fit a second latch on this door, because with this one high up there is still a bit of movement at the bottom, and although it's unlikely that something can jump this high and pull it open or kind of really bend it, it'll be well worth adding a second one down low anyway. What are you doing, Laurie?
I'm just transplanting some beautiful plants that have self-seeded in the polytunnel that will make really good chook food if we can get them to take and grow a little bit before the chickens get here and start scratching around. So I'm not entirely convinced these plants will end up growing on, but we have hundreds of self-seeded forage and New Zealand spinach and nasturtiums and chamomile in the polytunnels, so I thought it was worth a try.
We really value your advice and feedback in the comment section, and I wanted to ask you guys' opinion. So I was thinking initially I was going to clad all this, but then now it's like it's going to be almost probably the same cost that everything else has cost just to clad it. And it would be a little bit tricky around the laying boxes and stuff. So I'm thinking, do I do that, or what is the most affordable option? Or, because the OSB can be used as an external finish if it's sealed and then painted, do I do that and paint it brown, the same kind of colour as the legs? And if so, I wanted to ask your guys' advice on what kind of paint do you think would be best to use for that, that's going to stick to this. The other thing was, someone said they were concerned that all of the weight of the structure was on the 2 screws I'd put in. But as you can see, there's this L cutaway here, and the actual structure sits on the legs themselves all round. The couple of screws are kind of just to hold it in place. And then we have the braces as well. So I am happy with the way it's sat on the post there. Alright then, my friends, so both of these doors now are done, but next thing we face is there's obviously a little gap along the top here on both of these where the hinges just sit out a little bit, so there's like 2 or 3 millimeters gap. So what I've thought to do to come up with a bit of a solution for that, I've got some old pond liner, which I'm thinking of maybe attaching to these surfaces just to waterproof them, and then have them coming up and overlapping a little bit onto the vertical surfaces. So any rain that does come on here can run off without going in or deteriorating the wood as well. So yeah, just all about improvising. Normally, you know, I would in the past just buy new stuff for everything, but the kind of essence of this project is trying to use as much stuff I've got lying around as possible to keep the cost down. So yeah, we'll see how this is going to pan out. So while that pond liner is drying, I was thinking to myself, really I could do with something like a thin strip of metal to attach that pond liner to the upright wall of the chicken coop. And I don't have anything like that, but I realised I did have this old part sheet of tin roof that has a few flat bits on the profiles on there, so I thought I could use my multi-material blade on my circular saw to cut a few strips of that out. And yeah, I was just thinking as well, it's just fascinating to me how us humans have the ability to think and problem solve like we do, and it's just, yeah, so joyful kind of being a part of that. And obviously the mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy, and every day is a battle with a million and one thoughts, and yeah, it's a constant journey. But yeah, I do love that about us. It's amazing the years I've been using this thing, and they are so good. Like I couldn't highly recommend enough having a set of these battery tools. They all use the same battery. They last absolutely ages. But I've only just realised a few months ago that this tool actually has an Allen key in the side of it for changing these blades, and a little button here as well to lock the blade as you undo it. So many times I've been having to go and find like an Allen key set to do this and block the blade in there. It's silly really, but yeah, brilliant. Yeah, this blade in there right now is just for wood. It is one that's nailed, it's called nail tough, so it's kind of like, I think they're tungsten blades, so if you hit a nail, it's not the end of the world, but you wouldn't want to go cutting metal with those ones. Don't know if you guys are the same, but I spend half my time actually looking for pencils and gloves that I've put down places. Looked everywhere, how could just one glove completely disappear? I've got these cut to size now, and I'm just going along taking off any burrs or like sharp edges on there with a little file. Always amazes me with these roofing sheets how they're pretty sturdy as they are, even though they're thin metal, but this will literally like bend and crease just under its own weight when it's like this without the corrugations in it. So it's amazing how much strength they give it, those bends. I've taken the two lids off again just to use them as a template to draw around for the liner here. I've had a can of this for ages in the shed called Contact Spray Adhesive, so I think I might give that a go. It says to apply to both surfaces, and hopefully that will stick it onto the OSB. Alright, well I think that's sticking down, so I'm just going round the bottom side now and stapling it on. Right, we'll get these screwed back on. could have gone a lot worse. So I think it's going to work pretty well actually by the time I've got it all sorted. Alright, I'm going to go along now with a bead of silicone along the back here, and we'll get this screwed on. Now today, exciting job, our chicken automatic door has arrived. So we'll be looking at that in a minute, unboxing it and seeing how I'm going to fit that, looking at the instructions. And also we need to be making the perches for the chickens to sit on in the evening, and also lining our laying boxes with something soft and nice for them, more inviting than just sitting on that hard wooden floor. Update on how the laying boxes went. So you can see my kind of homemade seal along here, cut from a piece of corrugated sheet, and I put a bead of sealant along, not only behind that, behind the wood, but also just along the top there as well. We had quite a bit of rain last night actually, and everything is nice and dry in there. So we have both of those opening, and that has worked really well because this liner is obviously so thin and flat that still allows the door to open fully up. So I've just got to go along and kind of neaten off where it's stapled on along there, just to cut a bit of the excess off. But yeah, really chuffed with that. They are looking good. And you can see the principle here, how any driving rain that comes in will fall onto this one, down onto the next one, and then down onto the floor. Underneath there, I've added this piece of batten right along the back just to help support the floor there as well, although it is strong already. And on the inside as well of these, I've added these bits of batten in, which I've screwed from both sides and from the bottom as well. And the floor is also kind of pinned and screwed along every joint there. So I'm very happy that you could have sort of like 5 larger chickens in there and the floor isn't going to fall out basically. So I think on Instagram, Laurie did a post a few weeks ago that we were going to be doing this chicken coop build and getting chickens for the first time. And she was contacted by a really nice guy who's a teacher based in the UK, and he sent a little video through of his coop he'd made, and also told us all about his door he's got. And it came highly recommended from him by this company called Chicken Guard, chickenguard.com, and I believe they're made in the UK as well, which is cool, although I think you can probably get them wherever you're based. But they have several different really cool features. This includes a solar panel, so it can run obviously from solar. It has its own internal battery and backup batteries as well, and an automatic timer that you can set for a set time or to work on the daylight as well. So let's have a little look. So this will be the kind of trap door which goes up and down here. It's nice, it's made of metal. And then we have the unit, the kind of box unit here. I'll have a little look through the instructions in a minute. And then the solar panel which we can have going up onto the roof of it as well. Epic. So what I think I'm going to do is just temporarily attach this part here with the 4 screws, and then I can use this as a template to draw around to mark my hole to cut out of the chicken coop wall itself. So it does clearly say don't use power tools, but This is just to get a temporary hole, just to hold it in place. There we go. You can see there now that the door is located into that geared cog that's on the main unit. To be honest, I'll be surprised if it will charge and run off that solar panel in winter, but it does say you can change those batteries for lithium ones. Yeah, so I guess, oh, there's me saying that, it's come straight on as I've connected the panel. It's like a medieval drawbridge. Alright, I'll just bring you up on the ladder and see if I can show you what I've done here. So, I've attached this little bracket I made, and it's got the waterproof washers underneath there, and I've orientated this to pretty much south, as close as I can get, and I've put two different screws on here, and it's set on there really pretty securely actually. I mean, you'd need quite a lot of wind to knock that off or move it. If I pull up there, so this top screw on top would be sort of like a summer position, if I can do it with one hand. I've got the screws in just enough so they kind of catch on there, there we go. So that would be more vertical for summer, horizontal, sorry. And then if we take that off, and I've got this other screw there, which if I wiggle that down, then that would be more of an angle that would be for sort of like spring and winter and that. So yeah, we'll see how it performs. It may be that we just switch it out for the lithium battery and not use the panel. I can come back later now and have a look at all the different settings and stuff. It's set up automatically just for when it senses light the door will open, and when it's getting dark it will close, which is probably what we may use most of the time depending on how light it does come on. The wire here, I will obviously get some little clips to attach on, and I've just wired it kind of in the overhang, the corrugated bits of the roof. You can see there going up round, and the cable is just long enough, so that's good. So now for the part I've been most excited about doing on this whole project, which is making the ramp for them coming up here. So I'm going to go off and see what bits of wood I've got lying around and see what I can make up.
We've just been having a chat about the door and he's been explaining it all to me, and yeah, he said it worked perfectly straight away, really easy to put together and to install, so that is amazing. The one thing we have noticed though is we thought from what we looked at online about it that it could run on solar, but you could also put a backup set of batteries in it for if you didn't have solar, if the batteries ran out. But actually that's not the case. You can basically just have it running off solar with the batteries that come with it, or you can change it to a set of lithium batteries and not have solar working at all. So hopefully these batteries do hold quite a bit of power, because for us during the winter we don't always get very much sun, so it'll be really interesting to see if this unit still keeps working fully all through the winter. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have to get a set of lithium batteries, which isn't too much of a problem, but yeah, just be really interesting to see how it goes.
Right, I've come round to the edge of the woodland because we're on the next stage now, which is the perches. And I thought it would be really nice, instead of using like 4x2s with just the edges planed off, to actually find them some real natural wood, like a branch that they would naturally be on if they were perching up in the forest somewhere. So loads of sweet chestnut here that has fallen down, which is really good. Lasts a long time basically. It's very rot resistant. And got my traditional handsaw here. So we'll see if we can find a few bits. It will make it a bit harder to attach than using, you know, machined wood, but I think it will be worth it. One of the things I love about sweet chestnut is, however rotten it looks on the outside, it's normally good on the inside. It's such good wood. That's our two perches in. I've got them sort of like roughly overall level. Obviously they do like naturally undulate a bit, which is what they would sit on in the wild. Got them held in with 2 screws one side and one on the others, and they're really, really solid. I can't even move it, so yeah, that's cool. So now the next stage is going to be lining our laying boxes, and we don't want to put straw and stuff in there like bedding, because we have that 12-degree slope. That would obviously stop the eggs rolling down into that kind of drop away piece, the roll away, for us to collect them. So I've heard some people use like AstroTurf. We don't really want to go and buy new AstroTurf just for that, but what I do have is, I've had laying around for ages, some of this, it's kind of like a heavy duty woven pond filter material, and it's similar. It's probably about like 1.5 inches, and really nice and soft, but it's got a flat surface, so when that's in there they'll be able to roll down that. It's a nice thing that the chickens can kind of sit on, scratch a bit if they need to, and I'll also line the back with it as well, so as they roll down they're not going to hit the wood basically and break, they'll go into another piece of this. So next job is to measure those boxes and cut out a load of squares of this and line them.
After Dan finished lining the laying boxes, one final touch we decided to add was to install a window in the side of the chicken coop to let light in, because since we'd made the adjustment to the roof, it was really dark in the chicken house. And if we find that the house gets too hot in the future, we can switch the perspex out for some kind of wire mesh to create more ventilation.
Nice.
Our chicken house is now secure and the laying boxes are finished and lined. We do have a couple of finishing details for the outside of the coop. Otherwise, it is ready for our girls to arrive. By using as many leftover and foraged materials as we can, the chicken coop has cost us just £250 to build so far, which we are very happy with for the quality of the build. We're planning on having 7 chickens to start with, but we have built the house to be spacious and comfortable for our girls, and also to allow room for a few more hens in the future should we wish. If you've enjoyed seeing this build video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up just below the video, which we really appreciate. And stay tuned for the next video, which will be a full tour of how our chicken house is working. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Peace and plants.